Parents of TikTok, what is the creepiest thing your kid has ever said to you?
This trend belongs to my aunt, but she's not on TikTok, so here you go. My mom and I were moving into a new house, so my aunt and my cousin came to help us. After making a few trips inside, my 6-year-old cousin takes a seat on a stump in the front yard. He then turns and looks at the three of us out of the blue and says this place was built on an Indian burial ground. Once he saw the looks of "what the fuck" set into all three of our faces, he then began to hysterically cry and ran to my aunt. Looking back, we really should have loaded our shit back up and left. For the following 12 months, my sister was thrown down the stairs. I had a very large something get in my bed with me. I had a big green head floating outside my window. The fabric non-electrical angel on our Christmas tree caught fire. We had a random message pop up on our answering machine of a mother beating her daughter with no missed calls on any of the caller IDs. Long story short, we ended up going to the local library and finding out it was built on a burial ground. I didn't realize until making that video how much of that place I actually blocked out of my memory. So this may be part 2 of... First, let me elaborate a little bit on a couple of the stories from the first video. So I had a collie, a border collie. Her name was Chloe. Every night, like clockwork, Chloe would jump into bed with me when I went to bed. I slept facing the wall, she'd jump in, snuggle up behind my legs. Until this one particular night. I reached back to pet her, as I did every single night, and there was nothing but air. Paralyzed with fear, all I could manage to do was pull my covers up over my face and silently cry. A few minutes went by, and then I felt it jump off the bed, and all I could do was just lay there shaking until I eventually fell asleep. But sticking to my bedroom, this was a very old house, and it had glass doorknobs, the type with like the wood grain in the glass. Every single night, they would start shaking in my bedroom, and my closet would open. Now, this house was far from even. If you opened the door during the day and let go of it, it would close shut. So, yeah. On the back side of my room, I had 3 doors in my room. The hallway, the closet, and a bedroom that was attached to the back of my room. In that bedroom was a hockey table and a foosball table. And off of that bedroom was this terrifying little 2-foot wide staircase that went down to the kitchen. Why this place had a second staircase? Not sure. However, in the room with the hockey table and the foosball table, every single night I would hear somebody sit down on an old spring mattress and then lay down and get comfortable. Again, no bed in the room. And like I told you, outside of the window that was above the driveway, I would see a big green head floating around, and it would do this motion here, and it had a big thick green mist that followed it around when it moved. I got a lot of really good sleep at this place is what I'm trying to tell you. Fast forward to my sister's story. One of them. Every day after school, it was just me and my sister. One day I'm sitting on the front porch of the house with my girlfriend just talking. All of a sudden we hear a scream and a dush. I hear my sister's voice scream my name as if I did something wrong. I turn around and I see her, the back of her head in the doorway. I said, "What's wrong?" She turned around, and when she locked eyes with me and saw that I was outside, just white. The most blood-curdling, scared scream I've ever heard. She ran outside and said, "Nick, somebody just threw me down the stairs." So my girlfriend's there, right? I gotta be the big, I'm gonna go kill whoever's in there. Scared out of my mind, I grabbed a bat and I went in the house. Obviously looked all over the place, there's nobody in there, right? This is gonna take a lot of parts. So the answering message. My parents had just gotten divorced before my mom got this house, and they had split custody. One day my dad's dropping us off at my mom's, and she asks my dad to come in the house and listen to something. They weren't exactly best friends at the time, so I found that weird. Then she played the message. Guys, it's the scariest thing I've ever heard to this day. The deepest voiced woman just beating on her daughter, with no missed calls on any caller ID. Part 3. Just to wrap up that last answering machine story from part 2, the message was 13 minutes long. It wasn't some quick little thing you couldn't really tell what was going on. Oh no! But get this, my mom saved the little cassette tape from the answering machine. Now, my wife and I just bought a house, and when we were getting ready to move, 4 months ago, I dug through everything I owned because I had told her this story and never gotten to show it to her. But I found my little tape player, so I wanted to find the damn tape. And I did. And there's nothing on it. It disappeared. The audio is gone. It's a blank tape. None of the old messages from the answering machine or nothing. Blank. Gone. All of it. Part of me was kind of happy I couldn't hear it again, but the other part was like, God, nobody's gonna ever believe me. Luckily, there was 4 of us standing there, so that's a memory we'll have forever. Luckily, I said. Really? Continuing! This place had the scariest garage you've ever seen in your life. It had a gravel floor and a couple boards laid down for you to try to line your tires up with when you pulled in. In the garage, there was this, like, treehouse loft thing in the middle of the garage. Not an attic that went the distance of the garage. It was like this little boxed out room with this rickety little treehouse ladder that went up to it. This room was padlocked when we moved in, and we left it like that until right before we moved out. We'll come back to that room, but this is about my dog Chloe again. She went to the bathroom in the house, and it was raining outside, so we were gonna just put her in that little hallway thing that's connected. The house is connected to the garage by this little hallway thing, and that's where I put her. I put her in, close the door, turn around to walk away. I get about 2 steps, and she just starts screaming, yelping. So I'm like, Mom, I'm not leaving her out there. She's terrified of something. My mom was like, no, you gotta leave her out there. She needs to learn her lesson. So I waited about like 30 seconds, but I stood right at the door just because of the way she was like yelping. It sounded like she was being attacked or something. So I opened the door. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm opening the door. I open the door, and there's just blood everywhere. From her paws, because she was trying to dig through the wooden door to get back inside. This is a collie, guys. It's not a bulldog or a pit bull or anything like that. So yeah, garage, bad news. Pardon the interruption, but I don't know if you guys could hear the thunder during the last few parts of this video, but we have a crazy storm coming in and out of here. The wind was just blowing everything from the pool out of the yard, and my wife was hollering for me while I'm recording, so I knew it was something important. And I come into the hallway, and she says there's something crossing the field on 2 legs. I got it on video, but I need to play with the resolution because it was really far away, but it just crossed the field in like 60 seconds. A walk that takes me 10 minutes. Alright, back to the haunted house. Part 4! I'm gonna try to make this the last part. Without a doubt, one of the scarier instances in this place was the whole Christmas tree ordeal. My sister, my mom, and I are in the living room watching TV, and all of a sudden you hear like a sound. And then, boom. The angel that we had on our Christmas tree was a fabric, craft-made angel. This craft angel, with no electricity to it whatsoever, randomly caught fire and fell on the floor. Not a whole lot more to say about that. As I said before, this house was very old. If you've ever been in an old house, you know that the light switches are very hard to turn up or down. You have to apply a pretty good amount of pressure to get it to do either one. Headed towards the garage that I talked about, there was a breezeway where the washer and dryer were, where we kept our shoes and jackets, and the light in this breezeway refused to stay off. My mom would shut it off and say, guys, please stop leaving that on. She'd go to the bathroom, come back, and it would be on again. And you could literally hear it click on. There was just something very dark about that end of the house. That little staircase that I mentioned from the back of my room, it was 2 feet wide, just very eerie looking. It had a landing halfway. It was like a 90-degree, you go up at half the flight, there's a landing, and then you go up the other half. At that landing, there was a painted glass window. On the wall halfway down the staircase was a light fixture. We tried everything you can possibly imagine. The light would not stay lit. You put a bulb in, it burns out. Unless you stood there and stared at it. But the second you turned around and then turned back around, it was burnt out. So my mom said, you know what? I'm just gonna put a candle in front of the painted glass window. Same exact thing. You stand there and watch it, it'll stay burning all day. You turn around and then turn back around, the candle's out. At the bottom of that staircase was the kitchen. In this kitchen, the cupboards would randomly all be open when we came in, just like in the movies. All the chairs from the table were never on top of the table, but they were always moved around. My mom had a decorative stuffed bunny rabbit that was in the corner of the dining room, which was attached to the kitchen. And every single time we go in there, its head was like this, looking out the window. We would fix it, straighten it up, you leave the room, come back, it's looking out the window. Every time. I could go on about this place for days and days in 7,500 part, because there was just so many little things that happened, but I've told you the more significant events. Oh, the little room in the garage. So we ended up cutting the padlock off it, and in this little room was absolutely nothing. It could have been used for storage for all I know, sure. But judging by the vibes of this place, I find it highly doubtful. It was always freezing in there, and it just had the most terrible energy about it. I just can't explain it. And I guess that's how I'll finish it off. That goes for the whole house. Again, my parents were freshly divorced before we moved in here in the first place, and whatever it was really fed off of our sadness. I, to this day, don't know how my mom stayed there on the weekends alone. But we were just all so upset all the time. angry, sad, all of it. But that's it. Any questions, ask away. Picture time! Now this is actually kind of cool because I found an old listing, so I'll be able to show you guys exactly what I was talking about. This is a Google Earth street view, and right here, this little bump here, is where the stump was that my cousin sat on when he said this place was built on a burial ground. Doesn't that just look inviting, that black hole? Stay out. Remember how I told you I had 3 doors in my room? There you go. That one goes to the bedroom that's attached, that one goes to the hallway and the main staircase, and then that's the closet door that would open every night. They still had those glass knobs. This was before it was torn down, I guess. You can see my room right there through the doorway here. And what do you know? They put a bed back in the room. Might as well give whoever it is a place to lay down, I guess, right? There's the kitchen, and that's the staircase I was talking about. Doesn't that just look inviting? And that's how, you know, you can see the landing halfway up. That's where the painted glass window is. And on the back of this little wall here is where the light fixture was that wouldn't stay lit. Again, all these cupboards would always be open on the back side of this little island thing here. Yeah, yep. The living room, that's the stairs my sister got thrown down. There's a landing at the top of these two, but as soon as she got down to the landing, she got thrown down the last flight. Right here is where our Christmas tree was when the angel caught fire and fell down. You can see, if you look down there, you see their jackets. That's a doorway there. I don't know if you can tell. It's kind of hard because of the colors. And here is said breezeway. That is the door to go outside. And I find it kind of funny. They hung a curtain right here. That goes to the door to that hallway thing that connects the garage and the house I was telling you about. This is a 3D version on Google Earth. So the breezeway is right here, and there's a hallway that comes down here into the garage, and there's a door there where they have that curtain. Wonder why they blocked it off? So they rearranged some stuff. They have their kitchen table over against the window on the other side, but this is where we had our dining room set up, and right where that little stand is with the TV on it is where the chair was that had the stuffed bunny rabbit that would always be looking outside. This was my mom's huge and very creepy bedroom. Her closet door also had a lot of activity. There's no pictures from inside the garage on this listing. I wonder why. Just kidding. I told you, stay out. But that's it, guys. I appreciate you following along and listening to my stories. It's been good to get this stuff off my chest, but I also feel like I need to take a shower. Doesn't it just look like somebody would be watching you from those windows? Oh, and that's the porch I was sitting on, and that's the door my sister was looking at me through when she fell down the stairs and realized I was outside. Alright, I'm done. Thanks for listening, guys. I'm headed to the shower. And maybe church. Yeah, definitely church.
Parents of TikTok, what is the creepiest thing your kid...
So it's August 5th, the date of my second son's 5th birthday, 2017. We're sitting at the doctor for his 5-year-old checkup with him and my then 1-year-old son. A lady comes in with a set of twins and a double stroller. So my 5-year-old looks at me straight face. Hey, Mom, you need a double stroller. What I need a double stroller for? You're 5. You can walk. Kanan's 1. He has a stroller. He says, not for me and Kanan. For Kanan and the new baby. Just like that. New baby? Ain't no new baby. What the hell are you talking about? I immediately leave the doctor's office and go straight to Dollar General. Buy a pregnancy test. Piss on the stick. Positive as hell. How the hell?
What is the creepiest thing your kid has ever said to you?
So this is more a nonverbal communication, but when my son was 8 months old, he and I were at lunch alone together at this diner. And then we had this male server. He was a little bit older, Caucasian guy, seemed really normal, polite, but my son would freak out. Like he'd never freaked out like this before. Freaking out every time the guy came by our table. Ultimately, I had to leave the restaurant because he just could not be around this person. A month later, that person made the front page and was arrested on multiple accounts of child molestation.